The views and opinions expressed by the On the Spot with David Rodgers show are solely based on the show's hosts, guests, and viewers. We are solely responsible for all show content in its entirety and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of any sponsors in any way. These broadcasts are presented and made public by the On the Spot with David Rodgers team in the hope that it'll be entertaining and informative to our viewers and listening audience. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's 7 o'clock and time for On the Spot with David Rodgers. And now, here he is, Mr. Friday Night, the show pony himself, the man, the dream, the legendary David Rodgers.
Infidels and
Miscreants.
miscreants.
There you go. Dave, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
All right. We got a lot to get into, so we're going to get right to it because we got election results coming tonight, and we're very interested in that because we have endorsed Mitchell Gunner. I talked to Mitchell Gunner earlier today, and what did we say on the on our promos, Byron, and on the game day report?
Oh, yeah, go Big Red.
And football is back. So we're ready for that. I can't wait to start entertaining that. But anyway, welcome into the show, guys. We're working on the slight difficulty that we got here. Dave says the sound should be good. Just make sure your phones are up. And let me know. Can you hear now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, dude, can hear now. So thank you, David, for that.
I forgot Patriots.
Yeah.
I forgot to throw Patriots in there.
Yeah, Patriots, yeah.
Patriots.
And miscreants.
Infidels and miscreants.
Yeah. So before we get started, I want to thank Byron and Lisa Tomlinson. This beautiful watch that I'm wearing right here, ladies and gentlemen, is a gift from those two, and I really appreciate it. And I promised Byron and I promised Lisa that I wouldn't wear it except like on dress occasions or things like we're doing here. It's a beautiful watch. I know what was involved with this watch, and it really hits me right here. And I want to thank you for this beautiful gift. It really looks good. I love it, and it's working to perfection.
Brother, you're always there, just like another one of my brothers.
Yes, sir.
You're more than welcome.
No, I really appreciate that, and I just wanted to show this off, and I hope Lisa's watching because I am wearing it, Lisa, and it's beautiful. Look at that, Byron. Take a look at that beautiful blue background there. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Love the band.
It's a watch.
Yes, it is, and Lisa's got good taste, and you must have good taste too because that's exactly what I would have picked out. If you'd have lined up watches and the same thing, this is the one I would have picked out. So thank you again. And I really appreciate it. Let's get started as we always do with our prayer, our pledge, and our patriotic quote of the night. Here we go. Our righteous Heavenly Father, let us once thank again for a wonderful and glorious day you've given us, dear Lord. Thank you for this time that we have together, dear Lord. The On the Spot show with all my brothers here, dear Lord. And my other brother, dear Lord, Mitchell Gunner, that's out there campaigning and doing it to the last minute, trying to get that last vote, dear Lord. Please touch him and touch his campaign and let him do really well in this primary election. Thank you for letting us live in the greatest country in the world today, the United States of America, the most freest and powerful country in the world today. Yes, I know we have our own issues and our own problems, and the world thinks of us as we're weak. But I tell you, dear Lord, with your guiding hand and your guidance for all of our politicians and everybody that's involved that's going to throw a vote during this general election, that we make the right choice for our country and our nation, dear Lord, and that we can be that great and powerful and freest nation again. Thank you for our armed forces, dear Lord, each and every one of those men and women, the men and women that gave the ultimate sacrifice, their lives for this great country, dear Lord, and the ones that are serving now, whether it's here or abroad, dear Lord. Keep a hedge of protection over them and bring them home back safely to us and to their family. Thank you for our first responders, each and every one of those men and women that go out each and every day, that protect and serve, as it says on each one of their badges and each one of their cars, dear Lord, that you just go out there and you put a hedge of protection over them, keep them safe as they're keeping us safe, and that we can sleep and that we can do the things that we do each and every day and night. Thank you for the great American workers, dear Lord, everybody that gets up each and every morning and try and make this country thrive like it should each and every one of them, dear Lord, especially our farmers, our truck drivers, anybody that works in shipping, railways, shipping, ships, all that, dear Lord. And it's even in the manufacturing, dear Lord, and whatever it is that you do, that you keep touch on them, dear Lord, and that they keep working so we can make America thrive again. Any spoken or unspoken prayer requests, dear Lord, touch each and every one of them. You know the need and what they need, dear Lord, and that you can touch them and guide them and heal them as they see fit. Thank you for the food that we receive each and every day as it goes nourishment of our bodies and our bodies to thy service. Again, thank you for this great day. Thank you for just letting us have this time. Let's have a great week and a great weekend. And we ask for these things in your Son's name, Jesus Christ. And the congregation says,
Amen.
Amen. Let us stand as we got some flags behind us. And I'm going to ask Brother Byron Bagwell if he would lead us in our pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What a beautiful flag. Byron Bagwell, me and you talked about this many a time. I don't care what flag that you see and what color it has, and there's some beautiful flags out there, but there ain't one as beautiful as that one. I can assure you of that. Do you think? I know you know. I know you. I can't think of any. Can you?
The only one that I can even think that compares is the original.
Is the original, right?
The Betsy
Ross flag.
The 13 stars in a circle.
Circle, yeah. That's pretty flag too. Yeah, it's a beautiful flag. You got one.
I fly it.
You fly it. We put it up.
Yep.
And we make sure we put it up correctly.
Yes, we did.
So
you can have a flag with 3 colors, but it's not really the American flag. The American flag is
and as Byron
on its own.
On its own. And like Byron said, today just gives a prime example. The right to vote. Today is primary election day, and we're going to go over some results here in just a few minutes. It's specific for Bradford County and Columbia County, Clay County, and Duval, if we can get to it in this hour. I've got a little subject I want to talk about. I won't spend a lot of time on it. Byron's got a little something that he wants to talk about. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing rolling. Byron, do you have a quick quote that we can do, or do you want to just go into the business?
I most certainly do.
All right.
It's a real quick quote.
All right.
Give me just one.
Sure,
second.
brother. Sure.
I had to get back out of us real quick and to give you the quote.
Mm-hmm.
To educate a man in mind and not in morals is to educate a menace to society. Give you a hint. He is not a founding father, but he was a president.
Say it again.
To educate a man in mind and not in morals is to educate a menace to society.
I'm going to take a stab. I know this is wrong. I'm going to say Abe Lincoln.
Nope.
I need figures.
I was going to say him, but I'm going to change my mind.
Yeah, now you're going to change your mind now. I don't blame you.
Some of these people will actually get this because they saw my morning post this morning.
Oh, and I didn't. So I'm not going to look here because I want to try to take another stab at it. So I'm not going to look there. Do you have any other one?
Reagan?
Not Ronald Reagan.
Okay, let me see.
Matter of fact, this guy is really not one of my favorite presidents in the world, but he had this quote. He nailed this.
Madison? Carter?
Bill Clinton?
No, Lord. Oh, Lord. That comment coming out of Bill Clinton's mouth.
Well, I mean, hey, I've heard him say others that was pretty decent.
What time period are we talking?
Yeah.
Bill Clinton talking about morals.
Yeah, but he lied when he talked about them.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
so right? He did lie.
What time period? Within a 10-year circle.
No, how about just 19th century?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna take another stab. FDR, Franklin D. Roosevelt.
Kennedy would be one.
You are close, but I'm going to give another hint. Rough Riders.
Teddy Roosevelt.
It was Theodore Roosevelt.
Okay, when you said that, that was good. I
He was a great president, but he did some things that
Yeah,
forwarded nonsense too. So
absolutely. Well, good job, B.
Yep.
Let's get right into it here. Let me go into the weather, and then Byron, I know you want to keep up with the comments, or do you want me
Yeah,
to?
I can keep
All right,
up.
I'm gonna go to the election. Dave, you got your phone available? Can you pull up the Bradford County Supervisor of Elections, and let's open up that page to where the voting results are, and then we'll give some people some results while I give the weather. Forecast for Bradford County, Florida, and surrounding areas. Tonight, partly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms in the evening. The mostly clear after midnight. Lows in the lower 70s. Northeast winds around 5 miles per hour in the evening, becoming light and variable. Chance of rain 20%. Wednesday, mostly sunny, barring a chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Highs in the mid-90s. Northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of rain 50%. Heat index values, 105. And I know in our shop out there it's probably 125. Wednesday night, partly cloudy, a chance of showers and thunderstorms, mainly in the evening. Lows in the lower 70s. Northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of rain 40%. Thursday, partly sunny with a chance of showers with a slight chance of thunderstorms in the morning. Then cloudy with showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Highs in the upper 80s. Northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of rain, Byron, this is the big one, 90% on Thursday. Thursday night through Friday night, showers and thunderstorms, lows in the lower 70s, highs in the upper 80s, chance of rain 90%. Now that was Bradford County. I'm going to ask you, Austin, if you're on and watching, me and Byron want to know what the forecast is going to be in McClenny, Florida on Friday night, 7-ish or so. Tell us what that's going to be like.
please no monsoon.
Oh, please, man. We did that already, did we, B? And that was honestly, that was nasty. I sat in that thing, man, and I'm telling you, I shouldn't have. I should have just packed the stuff up and went home. But we didn't want to go because they never did officially call the ball game until about, what, an hour and a half later, 2 hours later?
The problem becomes is how do you protect the equipment we're broadcasting
Right.
with?
Yeah.
I mean, you sit there in it and the referees don't call it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you start ruining expensive radio equipment.
Yeah, that becomes a problem, and we really didn't have that equipment covered up at that point, did we? B? We tried.
I went back and got
You went back and got a bunch of stuff from your van and stuff, didn't
to
you?
cover it up, from
Yeah.
the work van to cover that stuff, plastic and stuff to cover it up.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Calling games that don't allow us up into the press box. So.
All right, I'm gonna let you read the comments, B. Why don't you start with some of those comments there?
Well, I'm missing.
Well,
I don't know.
Dwight Allen was watching. He said, "Good evening." There you go. How about that right there?
And he also said, "I voted today," and then Lisa Moody Tomlinson, of course, said,
Yeah.
"Good evening, gentlemen. Hello."
Hello there. I am wearing a watch. I don't know if you knew, but I am wearing your. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it.
Have a good show, gentlemen. That was from Jim Mitchell, and Dwight said Roosevelt.
That's a good one right there. Brady Raybird's watching. Shannon Smith's watching. Michelle Starlin's watching. Steve Yeager's watching. And you got some right there. There you go, right there.
Go Big Red.
All right.
They didn't tell me any. It's amazing what happens on Facebook with us because sometimes I get all the comments.
Right.
David can't see half of them.
Right.
And sometimes he gets all the comments and I can't see half of them.
Okay, so let's get in right to the results. Bradford County, United States Senator, there was John S. Columbus, Keith Gross, and Rick Scott. Rick Scott, 1,629 votes so far, 83% of the precincts. That's percentage, I'm sorry. So these must be finals. Keith Gross got 246, and Columbus got 84, so it looks like Rick Scott will retain that seat.
Well, he'll retain. This is actually
For the primary, yeah.
Okay,
So we'll see if he'll retain the seat in the general election.
Yeah.
All right, representative for Congress, Kat Kamick, 1,826 votes. Alex Stevens, 151. Kat Kamick moves on. How about that?
If the rest of the
rest,
counties
yeah.
in their districts.
Right. Right.
Agree. That's a district-wide thing, and it's for the Republican candidacy
Right.
for Congress and Senate.
All right. Superintendent of Schools. Vote for one. Will Hartley or Tracy Kendrick? Come on, open up. Open up. Dave, I don't know if I shut her down. What did I do here?
Back out of it.
Back out of it? Okay. There we go. Now I can
Go back in it.
go back in it.
Click it again.
Okay.
Now try it again.
Okay, here we go. Superintendent of Schools. Will Hartley and Tracy Kendrick was the two candidates. 1,385 votes for Will Hartley, 596 for Tracy Kendrick. So,
Will continues on.
Will continue on. That's
Are
correct.
these the final counts?
Now, it doesn't say because it just says vote and percentage. I'm looking, it's like 100% here, but I guess that would be to the votes. I don't know if that's a final yet.
Okay.
So we'll go back and look at these here in a little bit. I just want to get you there. County Commissioner, District 5, Diane Andrews and Brian Outlaw. This is pretty close if everything is not in yet. Diane Andrews, current seat right now, 323 votes. Brian Outlaw, 218. Woo! That's close.
Just a little over 100 votes.
Yeah, just a little over 100 votes. So, all right, here we go. Right now, and I don't know if this is final, School Board Member District 4. Dana Reddish Bell, 153 votes. Mitchell Gunner, 88. And Candace Craig Osteen, 343. Now, again, is that, I don't know if that's final. We don't know if that's final.
We know the polls are closed. They
Close,
closed
yeah.
at 7.
I just don't know if the numbers are final.
If they've come in, 100% of the votes have come in.
Right. So, what else do we have here? United States Senator again. Let's see. Okay. Vote for one. Stanley Campbell, Rod Joseph, Debbie Powell, and Brian Rush. And it looks like Mr. Campbell, 95. Mr. Joseph, 337. Debbie Powell, 249. And Brian Rush, 59.
That is for the state senate.
That is for the state senate. That is correct. So,
Once again, that should be a primary.
that should be a primary.
That's not a general.
That's exactly right. There you go, David. So we'll see what happens. Let me see if I can get any more here. I don't know what's wrong with my phone. It's acting up here, Byron. I can't get to anything
You're
here.
fine, David. You're fine. Take your time.
Yeah, let's take our time. You can be talking. Why don't you get into what you were saying there, B?
Sure. Well, I had a little issue with somebody on Wonders of Wonders, the Bradford County Word of Mouth the other day. We were having a discussion about free lunches for all the children inside of the United States. And I have an issue with that. You notice I said free lunches for all of the children in the United States. I want everybody to step back with this and not use your emotions about children being fed, because it's a very emotional topic when you start talking about kids who don't get enough to eat. Now, do I want children to be fed that need to be fed? The answer is yes. Do I want our federal government feeding all of our children? No, I do not. I want you to think about this. A child's mother and a child's father make $80,000 a year between the two of them. Can they feed their child lunches and breakfasts and dinner?
I would think so.
Yeah. How about a family that brings home $200,000 a year? Can they feed their children? How about millionaires? Do you want to supply food for their children and make them basically wards of the state? Then the answer is we should not be feeding all children. We should be going back to the system that we used to use based on parents' salaries. Now, if you have a mother and a father that don't make but $40,000 between the two of them a year, should you help them? Part of me says that it's their responsibility and they should have never made that child if they could not support that child. But another part of me says that's not that child's fault. So yes, you should help that child. And I do not have a problem with my tax money going to that. But because I don't support feeding all the children in the United States through school lunch programs, I am basically accused of murdering children because I wouldn't feed them, which is utter nonsense. And the person that was doing that never responded to my question about whether he'd ever donated to the Bradford County Food Bank, which I've done multiple times. We've done it all. We did a drive and fundraised over $1,000 for the Bradford County Food Bank.
Sure did.
So
we had the president of the food bank
right here
on a show a little while ago. Now I know he doesn't have that title anymore right now, but we did have him on at that particular time. But we did do our part.
The point with the whole thing is when you start talking about feeding children,
Yeah.
it is not the federal government's responsibility to feed children.
Yeah.
That is not one of its functions. It is a responsibility of citizens to help people that have children that they can't feed, because it's a social responsibility. And to tell you the honest truth, it's a moral decision more than a social decision. Because if you are capable of supporting yourself and doing the things you need to do for your family, it is your choice to go, that is a cause I want to help with. But if you keep on looking at all of these worthy causes, how does anybody support all of these worthy causes? Is somebody going to look at me and tell me that I support men that rape women because I won't support that because I'm supporting something else? The problem with this is everything that our government does, as far as taxation goes, is done at a point of a gun. And you can say, no, they don't. Yes, they do, because if you don't pay your taxes, eventually they will come get you and put you in prison at the point of a gun.
Yep.
I do not have problems with some taxes. I have tremendous issues with other taxes that they implement. Go back to doing that on the basis of people's incomes, and all of my concerns go away to a point.
Byron, I want to stop you right there, and you've got a great subject right here, and I know exactly the person that you're talking about here. I've seen some of his posts, I've seen some of his comments. Definitely not the sharpest tool in the drawer. I'm just putting it politely, and that's exactly right. But let me say this. See, he put out a post. You responded in your way.
It wasn't even his post.
And it wasn't even his post. That's exactly right. But you responded back to that particular post and said what you thought. And if I would have read that post, David, which I'm going to read more in depthly after the show tonight, but I've seen the gist of it. Byron didn't state anything about not feeding all the children. He didn't state anything about if he wants to call it murdering. I mean, I don't know where you get that from.
How do you get that? How is it my
How did that come to
responsibility
that?
to take care of other people's children?
So my point to this is this guy jumped before he thought about what Byron wrote or what, and this goes to anybody, but in this particular case, Byron wrote, he jumped to a conclusion and started running his fingers, keyboard warrior, keyboard cop, keyboard lawyer, whatever you want to call it, and come back and said something that was totally out of context of what Byron said and posted. And you see, this is where wars on Bradford, word of mouth, I'm just not going to say Bradford, word of mouth, the social media and everything comes into play, because everybody thinks that they're a barnyard warrior, whatever you want to think you are. Everybody thinks they know the business, or they think they know the law, or they think they know politics, or they think they know whatever it is, and they sit out here and they jump on the first thing they see, and it's way out of what that particular person said. I didn't read the post all the way down,
didn't
and
know-
I will,
yeah.
but I did read the gist of it.
I want to give. He called me a libertarian because I made this comment.
Well, of course he did.
No, well, I don't have a problem being called a libertarian. I'm not. Libertarians have some strange views on certain things,
Right.
And I'm not. I'm very, very liberal in the classical sense on a lot of things. I'm extremely liberal with what I'm about to tell you. You need to sit back and think about whether you own yourself. Because we have so socialized in this country that we think it's our responsibility to take care of everybody else here. You spend your life and your intelligence to make the money that you make. That is a part of your life. It should be your property. There is no way in the world between our federal government, our state government, and our local governments that we should be paying 50+% of what we make on an average to our governments. And people that say things like, we should feed all the children. Really, where's the money coming from? We're already taxed at 50%.
More taxes upon taxes. That's where.
Look, you should have a moral code that tells you what's right and what's wrong. And you should be able to keep your money, according to our Constitution, the way it was written, in a far different manner than what it is now. That's where he got I'm a libertarian from, because I believe in that libertarian view.
Right.
But it's really not libertarian. I got some news for him. It's an objectivist view. And if you want to dig into that, Mr. I'm not going to say your name, but
Right.
you can, if you're watching this because you know who I am, you go ahead and look into objectivism and see how you like that one. Because I don't go into my views on that. There's only a couple things I have issues with a person that actually come up with that philosophy. One of them, she was an atheist, and I don't agree with that at all. But you go ahead and look that one up, and you really won't like me, because that selfish comment that you came up with, you'll start realizing that that word is not what you think it means.
Right.
Look, bottom point blank line. If you make enough money to take care of yourself and you want to spend your money on different causes, have at it. I've done it myself. I will do it again for worthy causes. But for the government to sit back and look at me and tell me that I'm going to pay for the lunch of millionaires, I am going to tell you to fly a kite. Simple as that.
Let me go over some of the comments here. Good evening, Lisa. Sam, she all starts watching. Jim Mizell, as you said, was watching. Have a good show. Thank you. Dwight Onson did Roosevelt. Brady Rayburns watching. Shannon Smith. Michelle Starling. Stephen Yeager. Dwight Onson says, go Big Red. We'll get into that here in just a minute. David Hamilton said, sounding good, guys. Go Tornadoes. Absolutely. Can't wait for Friday Night Lights. Started this past Friday night with the Kickoff Classic. We'll get into that. Good evening, Shirley. It's been a little bit since I've talked to you, about a week and a half. Hello there, and I'm gonna call you tomorrow, and we'll catch up. I just didn't want to bother you while you was gone on your trip. I hope she had a good trip, B. I'm sure she did, and she'll fill me in on that.
And Dwight, that is exactly what I'm talking about right there. What you just said. When we were young, neither one of our parents had that much money. And they fed us 3 meals a day.
Good meals, I bet.
They were.
Yeah.
And I remember going to a farm and picking our own stuff and putting up our own stuff and working for what we ate, not just going to a grocery store and doing that. And I realize everybody can't do that. But this idea that we have to feed everybody's children really bothers me, because it's not necessary.
All right, I didn't see that coming. I'm sorry, brother. I know we jumped the gun there a little bit, and I'll get to that. It's okay.
I'm sorry, brother.
No. You're okay. You're okay. I see.
It just one of the comments popped up that I looked down at.
Yeah, I sent you. I already did the forecast Cindy Lane's watching. Congratulations, go Will. And I've got some more results here. My parents were rich, but we never missed a meal, and they pay for our lunch at school, too. Yeah, and that's what the one you answered,
Yeah,
right?
hold on one second. Dwight, will you please tell me the number of foster children your mom and dad actually, and your mom had after your dad passed? Will you please give me the number that they actually had and could feed? It boggles my mind how you hear stories about people giving like that and not making that much money and can take care of themselves, take care of their families, and take care of foster children, but all of a sudden we have to feed the nation.
Do you know why? Because 40 years ago,
Well,
there was some decency. There was some family values. There was hearts. People cared about each other. I gave you the prime example. My mama sent me to my neighbor's house and said, David, ask Mrs. Dodd to give you a cup of sugar. Guess what David came back with?
a cup of sugar.
I came back with the bag because she sent the whole bag, and she says, tell your mom to pay it back when she can. Sent the whole bag instead of a cup. That's when values, family values, were real and were good. We've changed because of the way times have gone, technology, the different things that we've got today. Now, there is some good people.
Yeah,
we're good
there
people.
is.
There is good people. Don't let me say that out of context. There is still some good people out there with some good hearts, but most people, or a lot of people, don't have that anymore. They're about themselves. They're about what they can get. They're about what they can do. And they're not really willing to help anybody anymore. Prime examples. I mean, you know what Byron was just talking about with the food pantry thing. You know, if you're so concerned about that, then donate to the food pantry.
He
Then
doesn't even live.
He don't even live in Bradford County.
He just runs his mouth on the Bradford County word of mouth page.
Yeah. And that's exactly right. And we've got a lot of people on this show right now, B, that live back in that area or know about that area or their parents know about that era, and they're agreeing with everything that we're saying. Family values, for the most part, Byron, is gone, and you know we're trying to reinstill it, but every time we try to do that, there's something thrown back out negative to it, and we just never get to that cross up. You know what I mean? We don't get over the hill. If I want to say that.
Before I make this comment, I want everybody to understand that this is not everybody out there.
Absolutely,
that is a
it's
single
not.
Parent or people that are having a hard time with money. But there are a lot of people out there that make more than enough money to make themselves survive, and what they do is they live on a dime budget and eat caviar. It's a dime store budget on and eat caviar. You know, you go spend $160 to do your hair, and your child doesn't have food for the week.
Yeah, a great one. That's a good one. That is a good one. That's a good one.
I mean,
But her hair looks good for the week.
or your nails done. It's not
Yeah.
just women.
No.
Men do.
Men.
You know, you go buy a $500 or $600 PlayStation 5,
Yep.
and you don't have enough money to feed your kid for a week.
Or you go buy that $300 or $400 set of golf clubs.
Or you go buy a case of beer
Beer.
that's $25
Yeah.
instead of going and buying 4 packs of lunch meat and some bread
Yeah.
and some mayonnaise or mustard so
Yeah.
you can feed your child and feed
Yeah.
you and feed your family for the next couple. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on and on. It's got to stop somewhere because the American public can't support it.
Me and Byron was talking before the show, and I think you heard a little bit about this. And this guy that responded back to Byron, he's an idiot. No, well, I'm just going to go ahead and say that because I'm going to get on my soapbox about something else
He's
here
a
about
coward
idiot.
too, by
He's
the
a
way.
coward because he wasn't facing. But you know, we were talking about. I feel bad, and I think our viewing audience does as well. And Byron hit this quite a bit here. I feel bad for the kids because it's not the kids' fault that their parents are doing these horrible things. They're just youngsters. They are doing what they're being told to do and living the way that the parents have them live. And I feel bad that some of these kids, the best meals that they get is at their school system. Breakfasts, lunch. No dinners, I mean, but if there was one, I guarantee you, they would be eating three, as Byron said, they would be eating 3 meals a day, Byron, at the school. And that's just uncalled for, and somebody needs to be held accountable. And it starts, like you said, at the home with the parents.
Morally, I have no issue with helping feed children whose parents can't afford to feed them.
Absolutely.
Politically is a different story, because, like I said, the federal government should not be involved with it.
No.
But it is, and they use my tax money for it. And what I want them to do with my tax money is I want to make sure that these parents can't afford to feed their children. Because it's got to end the taxation has got to end somewhere.
It does.
I mean, their taxes for this, they taxes for that, they taxes for the other thing. Look, you want to tax to improve the roads? We've got it.
Yep.
You want to tax on gas for whatever they tax to improve roads, which is what a lot of the local gas taxes and the state gas taxes do. I don't have an issue with that. But then you have a federal gas tax. Where does the federal gas tax go? It goes to improving the interstate, or supposedly. So, I mean, it goes on and on and on and on and on, and pretty soon it's 50%, and then it turns into 60%, and then it turns into 65%, and pretty much we're all wards of the state, and all we do is work to give the state our money.
Our money. All right, to you and to Dave and to our viewing audience. Byron just hit on something, and it just caught me, and it just come up my gut here. All right, Byron was talking about taxes and where is all this money going for. How about this? Byron, you tell me if you agree, David and viewing audience. I think in the state of Florida, most states have what they call a lottery. I think, I'm sorry, B, they have what they call a lottery.
Oh.
Yeah, you play the lottery, and when the lottery was first instilled back in 88, correct me if I'm wrong.
It was 90.
Was it a little later than
91 or 92, something like that.
Okay, somewhere in that frame. What was said about it is that money was supposed to go to education.
No, that money was supposed to replace the money that was going to education from our taxes.
Right.
Is what that was supposed to do. And I'm going to let David go. We're going to let David go. I'm sorry.
So, no, you're good.
That used to be a really touchy subject.
And it still is with me. Okay. So, if that is the case, which Byron and me know, and you know that that's not the case, and so does our viewing audience knows it's not the case, would these lunches, as Byron said, these free lunches, would they not be under that educational system? I mean, hey, we are teaching our kids, right? Our kids eat at our educational facilities. Shouldn't that money be used, Byron, to facilitate in buying food and buying meals for these kids? Now, you tell me what you think. I think it should be. I may be wrong in it.
You know why it's not? Because what they did was they actually took the money that was in the budget from the federal government for our schools in the state of Florida.
Right.
They replaced that amount into the budget on top of the existing budget and pocketed the rest of it. Is what they've done.
Okay,
So
let's say if all
replace
things...
the money, the federal government, and now the money from the federal government from that goes to different things. Instead of going to the school system, it goes somewhere else, which is...
Let's say if this is, Byron, let's say if this was all even keel. Let's say they were doing with the money what they were supposed to be doing with it, okay? Should that not fall under that? It's education, right? It's food, I get it. But you are feeding children in an educational environment.
Yeah. So
you should that money be also going? In other words, if you're going to get the books and Chromebooks and the things that you need to teach our kids are at the school if, again, we are saying about free lunches, shouldn't that lottery money, if it was even keel and it was done the right way, shouldn't that be also to help feed those kids? Shouldn't that money go to food as well and not just books and teacher salaries and everything else? Shouldn't that be incorporated in it? I'm asking. I'm just.
You would think, David, but my question is, and I know it takes money to run the lottery system in Florida.
It does.
But you're telling me that what Florida gets from the federal government a year for that budget is all that lottery money replaces that people spend? I have a very hard time believing that.
Me as well.
I have a hard time believing that there's nothing left over.
Me too.
It's going somewhere. David, I have a fundamental issue with our federal government educating our children anyway. The original education system was in the hands of the states, and that's where it should be. Mm-hmm. This all started in the 70s when some of the teachers started striking, and the federal government stepped in and said, if you don't do something about it, we're going to take over. They didn't do a whole lot about the states didn't do a whole lot about it, and the federal government took over our education system. The federal government does one thing well, and that is force. They do not educate people very well at all.
You're right. I want to get to some comments real quick. Dave, could you do me a favor? Could you pull up Columbia County's results on your phone?
I'll try.
Okay. So, let me see. You had asked, let me go back here a minute. Cindy Lane's watching. Congratulations. Go Will. Yep. My parents weren't rich, but we never missed a meal, and they paid what you answered. Reggie Leverson's watching. Kelly Moore Rowland's watching. John Bradley's word of mouth is full of commies. Yep. And that's exactly right. Because everything, well, I've had my own issues with him, and I try to do it the nice way. Finally, you remember I told you a couple of weeks ago, I'm not feeding these guys rhetoric anymore. I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. They can say what they want to say. They can pipe some of that crap straight up their ass, to be honest with you. Excuse my French right there. They can pipe that straight up. I'm just not going to feed into their rhetoric anymore. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry if any kids. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. I really do.
Brother, I had to. I posted that's response.
No, you were commenting about. You wasn't arguing. You made a comment to a post that wasn't his, and you stated your feelings and your objectives about it.
It's not the federal government's responsibility to feed children. It's not. I'm sorry, it's not.
Mitchell Gunner's watching. Mitchell, I'm going to get the results, buddy. Mitchell said 29.5% turnout in Bradford County. That is really sad.
Pitiful.
I would get a sad face to that, too. That's really, really horrible. Terry Wilkerson Anderson is watching. Christopher Davis is watching. Chris, by the way, I want to let me stick up for Chris a minute. Chris, have you been seeing some of his posts about he hadn't been able to get food delivered? He's been
No, I haven't seen those.
You haven't? Okay.
What?
So since Saturday, he hadn't been able to open up his restaurant because he can't get food delivered to him, so he can have enough food to operate his restaurant. So he's been trying to schedule deliveries, get deliveries going. Please, and Chris has been really, really gracious about putting that out on Facebook. And I hate that, I don't know his suppliers, if it's Cisco, I don't know who it is. But they haven't made a delivery. He was going to open today. He thought he'd have enough, but he couldn't open today because he didn't want to open because, David, he doesn't want to make sure, he doesn't want to run out of food, and he barely has enough. You know what I mean? Why open the doors if you can't establish it fully? And that is Chris and Casey's deal, is like, hey, if we're going to open up fully. And I really hate that beat for him.
Chris, I have a suggestion to you for you, and I would go talk to Chrissy Thompson and see what supplier she uses and see if it's the same one if she's having a problem. I'm sure Chrissy will talk to you about it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure she will. That's really sad. I voted. People don't realize voting is a privilege people take for granted, and we talked about that, Lisa, and that's exactly right. As you can see, mine and Byron's patch here, we voted. And by the way, Byron, I want one of your patches. I like that thing there.
You don't live in Clay County.
Well, no. I'll get this patch.
That's Bradford.
That's Bradford, but I like the way that design is.
I like both of them.
I like both of them. Okay, I like both of them too. I do too. Cindy Lane, some couldn't vote this time. What does she mean by that? Is it because of the independent? Is that what you're saying? That's probably what she's saying. Yeah, I mean, that's...
But 29%
Sure.
that they were talking about is registered Republicans.
And I'm going to read off that number to you in a
really
minute.
bizarre because normally Republicans come out in droves.
Yes. If you didn't vote at the polls today or by mail, don't bitch. Jim Mizell, you got it, brother. I am on that.
And Shirley, did you read the comment from my mother?
I'm fixing to. Today, a person doesn't have to have a child if they can't support them. Just saying.
Yep.
Now, look, my mother taught school for a very,
Yes,
very
she
long
did.
time, and
Yes.
she has seen some things that makes her say that, and I did too when I was teaching.
Yeah.
If you can't support a child,
Yep.
why are you having
Having
a
them.
child? And if you want children, that should be enough motivation for you to go do what you need to do so you can have a child. Because I can tell you, there's all sorts of support everywhere coming from family most of the time and friends. If you start having a problem at the beginning, you need to figure out what you're doing because that child is your responsibility, not everybody else's.
I want to spin that around a little bit, Byron. I want to take it off course just a little bit. And this is some sad news for women out there that can't have children, that can't bear children, that would love to have a child, and they have to go through the adoptive process. And here's people out there that's got 5 and 6 kids, and they can't afford to feed the kids, to clothe the kids, whatever it is, medical for the kids. And there's people out there that really want a child. If you can't afford your child, and I understand it was birthed by you, but if you cannot afford your kids, don't let them go the stray way and not feed them, or or whatever it is that you're doing. There's somebody out there that will adopt those kids. There is people out there that's wanting kids left and right. And again, I know it has to be matched up, and I get that it has to be the perfect fit. But I mean, like you were just saying, your mother just said, these women out here that are having 5 and 6 kids.
It's not just the women. It takes
it's
two
people
to do that.
Yeah.
But if you're out there having
Yeah.
fun like that, you need to understand that there's consequences to those actions sometimes.
Yeah.
You better figure out something. And that's all I'm saying, because you're responsible for that adult. A young adult.
A young adult,
a
yeah.
child that will become an adult. And your actions or inactions, or what you say and what you do, will affect that child through his life. By the time a child reaches 2, his habits are ingrained.
Yeah. Yeah. Johnny Waterson's watching. I like to watch, but they have no problem murdering unborn children. It's really sad to see that they are providing abortions at the Democratic National Convention.
Do what now?
But Dwight Allen said, but they have no problem murdering unborn children. It's really sad to see they are providing abortions at the DNC.
And I didn't hear that, my God.
I heard something to that. I didn't know fully. Maybe Dwight can explain if he's still on a little bit.
Wow. What?
Wow, yeah, that's what I say. David Rodgers watching, yeah, it's crazy.
I've made the evil comparison, but I'm sorry. That's if you don't have a problem with your child or something that's going to kill you with your birth, you have no place having. I'm sorry. That's using abortion as birth control.
Yep.
No.
Mitchell said, true that. Tina at a glance. Tina, I won't make that mistake again. I thought it was a girl in my hometown. Her name was Tina, and I know she has a hair shop there, but I won't make that mistake. Tina, I know who you are. Hello and welcome in. Randy Brooks is watching. What's wrong with the world is all the judgment, Cindy Lane says. I agree with part of that.
That depends on what you're talking about.
And that's why I said I agree with part of that.
With judgment. Because everybody makes their judgment about what they'll accept and what they won't accept according to their own moral code.
Yes.
And that's an issue when you start talking about people judging other people.
Mm-hmm.
Because if somebody's doing something that you can't accept morally, you have two choices.
Yeah.
You either speak up about it, or you turn around and you don't have anything to do with them at all. And it's still a form of judgment.
Unfortunately, Byron, this is Kelly Rowland saying, unfortunately, Byron, most people's moral compass is spinning out of control.
You got that
You
right.
got that right, Kelly. I love that. Cindy Lane, amen. Rob Barrett's watching. Hey,
Rob.
Rob, I can't wait till Friday night, brother.
Hold on.
Okay, you want to? Okay, you want to? All right.
Okay, we have a new sponsor of Bradford County.
Yes, I'll let you do. Yes, go
And,
ahead.
and that would be
R&B fencing.
R&B Fencing, which is Rob and Barbie's business.
Yes.
Thank you so much, brother.
Yes.
And tell Barbie
And Barbie,
I
yes.
said thank you too. We look forward to a good season, and
We're going to get into that.
I
Yes.
can promise you, you'll hear your name.
Yes, you will, because we're going to get
Podcast.
into that big time. I seen him, and I was like, I had to say it. Thank you, Tina. She said, fellas, y'all look great. David, you look great too. Come show your face, David. Come on here. Come around here, David, when you get a moment. I remember picking peas and breaking corn by the age of 4.
And great corn at that.
Yeah.
Your daddy grew some unbelievably good corn, Kelly.
Yeah. Wendy Rodzinski's watching. Thank you. Gail Coleman's watching. Stephen Yeager. The division in our country, even our small counties, is so strong. It's hard for people to find common ground in many issues, let alone have a civil conversation without absurd accusations, without even knowing the individual, and that's exactly what we've been talking about right here. Thank you, Stephen.
Stephen, I look at this, and look, you may disagree with me.
Oh,
you may
yeah.
think that kids need to be fed, all of them. But I can't help but look at it from a common sense perspective. The taxpayers shouldn't be asked to feed children whose parents can afford to feed them. That is just common sense. Why are we paying for that?
Yeah, no, and I agree. Kelly, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Mark Udi's watching. Hello there. It varied, brother, but usually 7 to 9 people in the house, including his parents.
Brother, that's what I'm
Talking about.
talking about. They did that on basically on a shoestring budget with 3 of their own children and a bunch of foster kids.
Do you remember the days, Byron, do you remember these days? And I don't know if y'all did it here so much. I lived in a neighborhood when I was growing up. I'm from Pascagoula, Mississippi originally. I lived in a little neighborhood called Green Acres, by the way. How about that? Green Acres is the place. But anyway, I lived in a neighborhood like that. It was 3 streets, and it had probably 8 or 9 houses on each row. So there was probably 35, 40 homes within this. Well, you know, there wasn't anybody here too. So yeah, Dave's pointing to me and him. So you know, look, you know, we nobody in that neighborhood made great money. And back in the 70s, I mean, you know, if you were making $500 or $600 a week, that was really good. You know, and you know, my parents, I mean, my dad was, my mom didn't work. My dad was the only guy bringing in, the only person bringing in an income. He worked night shift at the shipyard. But you know what? As Byron said, and all of y'all have said, I had enough to eat. Me and my sisters had enough to eat. And you know what else? They would, once a month, we would have what we call a neighborhood picnic. A neighborhood picnic where everybody came out. Even if you didn't think it, somebody would make something, and we would have a neighborhood picnic. We'd play softball, baseball, kickball. Man, food lined up for table lengths. And those days are absolutely gone. There is no more of that. And I don't get it, Byron, because we should be doing more of that. And it's what people have been saying, and you've been saying, the morals is not there anymore, and the familyness, togetherness is not there anymore.
Well, it's they've made it popular to be immoral. Excuse me.
Yes.
Is what's going on, and you don't get some of those same things. We didn't have the we didn't have the neighborhood picnics.
No,
but we had
y'all had something close, yeah.
And if the kids from the neighborhood come over, guess what happened?
Your mama fed them.
Mother
Your
fed 'em.
dad fed them.
My grandmother fed them. My aunt fell. It was no.
Have you ever heard your mother or your grandmother say no to anybody?
After we about ate her out.
Okay.
In my teenage years, we'd been in there eating for an hour and a half.
Yeah, you and Dwight Alligan.
That's enough. That's enough.
You and Dwight Alligan. Shenanigans.
Keep on doing that.
Shenanigans.
I mean, three 15-year-old boys, and Dwight wasn't in with that group. He was. He come over there, but it wasn't. This wasn't.
This wasn't the eating group.
This wasn't. This was the dog with this one. Me and two of my other friends had been in there for an hour and a half, eating everything we could possibly find in there, and my mother come in there and went, "No more."
That is great.
And by the way, son, you are eating dinner tonight.
Yeah. Can't you just block this Bradley man and then he can't see anything you post or say?
Part of the problem
That's Cindy.
is,
That come from Cindy Lane, by the way.
Part of the problem is I'm not a member of the Bradford County Word of Mouth
Exactly.
group anymore because I got out of it. But they have a secondary group called the Bradford County Word of Mouth Gone Wild that shows up on my Facebook feed all the time. And for some reason, I just cannot help myself but making comments on that because there are some people in there that actually have some common sense and intelligence that need to understand why what these people are saying is just idiotic. And I do it, and then, of course, I get blowback almost every single time. I've got it. John Bradley's not the one that made the comment.
Absolutely not.
It was another person that made that.
Yep.
But John Bradley's made comments to me before about that stuff, and I flat told him if he'd like to discuss this any further, he can come on this show, and I'll be glad to talk to him face to face.
We've invited
He
him.
won't do.
We've invited him.
David's invited him.
Yeah.
I've invited him, and he won't come on. They're cowards. They refuse to have a civil conversation face to face with anybody that doesn't agree with exactly what they want to say.
Rob Barrick's comment here. I'm all David and Byron for helping out a neighbor or a friend, but not for free handouts to people that are too lazy to help themselves. Man, perfect. Perfectly said. I agree.
Yeah.
Shirley, we see beggars who have a dog to feed and a cigarette. Yeah, we do. Yeah. I just always thought if I needed more dollars, I needed to work more. Daggum, Kelly gets it, doesn't she? If she needs more money, she needs to work harder, a little more.
It does not surprise me at all with who her father is.
There is, yes.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, it doesn't.
He was,
I don't even know why that comment there. You're right.
if you don't know who her father
Yeah,
was,
explain.
her father worked at Winn-Dixie as the meat
Meat
manager
man.
for years and
Yes.
years and years and years and years. And while he was doing that, he was also operating a functional farm
Yep.
at the same time. So it does not surprise me at all Kelly would say something like that.
Well, what did Kelly go back and say? She was picking peas and at the age of 4. She was out there helping out as a little girl. That's why her work ethic is probably out the roof now, because she got taught right.
David, I've gone out to that farm and picked corn directly off the stalk and ate it without cooking. It was that.
Oh,
Yeah.
heck yeah,
Some
that
of the best
sounds really good.
Some of the best
Silver Queen coming?
I have
Oh, my
ever
goodness.
eaten in my
Oh, my
life.
gosh.
It was unbelievably good.
All right, Dwight says, Dwight, I just need to know if I'm in this number 2. I have 10 adopted brothers and sisters. Can I be 11 or can I be part of 10? Is Byron part of 10?
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I know what he's talking about.
Wait. We'll discuss that. I don't need to be his brother. That we'll have a discussion
Yeah.
about that a little bit later.
Okay.
And it has nothing to do with him. He could probably figure
Yeah.
that out from what I'm talking about. I want to. Did you see the comment from Scott?
All right,
Munnings?
all right. Let me get to Steve, and then we'll get to that. I left that word of mouth page long ago because of that individual amongst some others, and that's exactly what Byron said. It's just not him. There's others on there.
I mean, I can give you.
Yeah.
I can give you the list.
Yeah.
And if they really keep on messing with me, and I know sooner or later they're going to come on my personal page and do it because that's the way they are. If one of them messes with me, I'm going to tell everybody in God's creation, not only on Facebook, but on the show, exactly who he is and what he's done in the past and how he got away with it. And then John Bradley can figure out why everybody's leaving the Bradford County Word of Mouth page, because I believe this guy is one of his admins. And he hasn't done his background check well enough on this guy.
And as I was just getting ready to say, he has so many authors and admins that he can't even keep up with them. I started reading the list of the guys, and you know what I did? I just clicked it off. I was like, man, that's too many names. So everybody's got access to that. I bet he don't even know half the crap that gets put on that page because somebody posts it, and before he even realizes, it's already out to 100,000 people.
Well, my biggest problem with is this man has gone and created a Bradford County word of mouth page, and he allows everybody in God's green creation, whether they're from Bradford County and living somewhere else or still live in Bradford County. These people have never lived in Bradford County. They just come on and run their mouth because he knows that this community is quote unquote a conservative community. And he knows he's finding people that have the opposite opinion than conservatives, and he's gone crazy with it.
Yes, he has. George Ford Trailers watching. Dorothy Starlin. Eddie Sigmund's back. How about that, huh?
Welcome back, Eddie.
Yeah, and I'm much happier on social media as a result. Thank you. If you block him or his admins, they boot you out or suspend your account from posting or commenting. That's what happened to me, Dwight.
I just got rid of it, Dwight. I just see the Bradford County word of mouth gone wild every once in a while.
I'll let you answer this, B, and I've seen the comment. Does Bradford have a higher registration tax for EVs since they aren't paying gas tax?
I'm going to have to get back to you on that. I am not sure whether
That's a good answer.
they do or not, Scott. I would hope so. I honestly would hope so because they're not paying gas taxes. But you never know, when it comes to electric vehicles. I mean, they're using gas and not getting taxed by it anyway because you have to use diesel to generate the power for those charging stations. It's just unbelievable how just.
We'll get back with you on that as we had a chance.
If you like your electric vehicle, please do not take this wrong. But to force everybody into that is retarded.
Yeah.
It is because they don't function the way they should.
Shirley says, don't even go there. The lottery was supposed to, agrees with us, supposed to be for education. It was supposed to be. Yep.
It was supposed to all go to education other than what they paid their employees. But it doesn't.
Yeah. You're not allowed to block dictator press. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll get to that. Shelley's watching. How about that?
I might block him from this road because I won't block him out of his driveway, but I may block him from standing across the road talking to him because I know where he lives.
Yeah, so do I. Pass it all the time, each and every day. My whole family does. I'll show you.
Not that we would ever do anything to him.
I don't
but
know nothing.
I certainly have a good conversation with him.
Yeah, of course. Yes, sir. Buy a kid a meal and a chance to be a millionaire. You are so right, son, about the lottery and the schools. Absolutely, Shirley. And that's what we've been preaching this whole time. And that's why I brought up the lottery, was because I wanted to hear Byron and David's take and y'all's take. And that money was supposed to go, as you said earlier in a comment, was supposed to be for education. And like Byron said, they took that money and did what, B?
Well, what they did was they took that money and used it to replace the money
right.
that was originally slotted for the education system.
And then what Byron said, the other has been pocketed.
Or
it's going somewhere else.
Going somewhere else.
Yeah.
Nobody can seem to figure out, at least the last time I looked at that, which was years ago, where it was going. And nobody can quite figure out where the rest of that money is going except to employees of the lottery, which is mind-boggling to me that you could pay the employees of the lottery that much money from what's left over from the state education system budget to what they make off all of the stuff that the lottery does. It's impossible.
Stephen Yeager, I always understood that a portion of that money went to Florida Bright Futures for scholarship to high school graduates. I heard the same thing. That's what it does.
It does.
It does, yeah.
But the problem is if you...
How much of it is it going? They never say a number. I don't know what's going to Florida Bright Futures scholarships. Do you? You got me. You're
somebody
as
can pull those numbers up because I'm
Yeah.
sure those numbers are somewhere and they can back that number up because they've said it. But that's all the shenanigans that went on to begin with was exactly what a lot of us were concerned about when the lottery, the state's ability to have a lottery was actually brought up for voting, and I was one of the people that voted no because of that.
Rob Barrett, say it isn't so. The government never does that. Lots of laughs, and we'll stop right there, Bob. Rob, we missed you, man. Where you been, brother? So anyway, I want to get to the results again. Again, this is saying unofficial unless it's been released officially. United States Center, this is Bradford County now. Vote for one. It was Columbus, Gross, and Scott. Scott 3,156 votes. Gross 487. And Columbus 170. Looks like Rick Scott will be moving on. Representative for Congress, Kat Kamick or Alex Stevens. And Kat Kamick, 3,533 votes. Mr. Stevens, 314. Superintendent of Schools, down to 2, at least in the primary, Will Hartley and Tracy Kendrick. And I think this is going to be over by, because I don't think he has an opponent in the general. So Will Hartley has 2,689 votes, and Tracy Kendrick had 1,142 votes. So it looks like Will retain his position. County Commissioner of District 5, Diane Andrews and Brian Outlaw. My God, what a race here, B. 606 to 471, Miss Andrews. That was
I knew
close.
that one was going to be close.
Yeah, that was really close there. Let me see here. We had, let me see. Going to get to District 4 here. School board member, District 4. There was 3 people, Dana Reddish, Bell, Mitchell Gunner, and Candace Craig Osteen. And let me see here, according to what I see here, Miss Osteen 343, Mrs. Bell 153, Mitchell Gunner 88, but I think those numbers have been updated since then. I think it's going to be Miss Osteen and Miss Bell. I was looking at Mitchell's comments. Did you see that? So I wanted to get back with that. He said, I had a great time campaigning for school board for District 4. Everyone running for the position did a great job. So I guess there was no bickering. No, everybody did what they were supposed to do.
Well, I think everybody knew everybody, too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it wasn't like that they hated each other.
Yeah,
so.
no, and that's exactly right. So Mitchell, hey, you did a great job, brother.
Yeah.
Hey, don't hang your head. Just like we told Michael Heater when he lost that position to to Nugent, that city commissioner's position. Hey, regroup, and there'll be another time and another position. And Mitchell, you already know how to do this thing. So hey, don't go for the next thing. You know what I mean? Just because you didn't get this. Do they even know where their budget is like? Our county commissioners, they don't know what their budget is. Just write checks the government can't back up.
Now, the county, you can't do that on a county level. You can make things disappear when you start getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But sooner or later, the bigger and bigger and bigger forms of government is going to come down here and go, wait a minute, where is this money? We've seen it happen in Hampton, and we've seen it in different places.
Yeah, making sure our producer and director was okay. I was looking at that too. Yes, Kelly, and that's what we've been saying the whole time. Remember when the Florida Lottery began, the platform was all about education? Yep, absolutely. Shane Nash is watching, my buddy. Thank you, Dwight. Amen, David Rodgers. I guess when I said about piping it up is Wendy Russell. She's watching. Rob Eric, I'll be there tomorrow for lunch. Cindy Lane, yes. Dawn Wolven Shepherd is watching. Shirley Bagwell said, amen, son. Dwight said, I'm a registered independent. I can only vote for county commissioner. Jason Smith is watching. Kelly says, mobile unit set up, free abortion or vasectomy. Kyle Jackson, do you know Kyle?
Yeah, I know Kyle.
Kyle says, hey, y'all.
What's going on, Kyle?
What's all going on, Kyle? If they haven't figured it out after the first, second, and third consequence, they probably won't figure it out at all. Michelle, Jimmy Duncan is watching. Yeah. Eddie Sigmund, we need to go back to how God judges people. Abortions and vasectomy are offered. I think the Democrats are killing off their future voters. I guess that's why they are bringing in millions of illegals.
Dwight just outed John Bradley.
Yes, he sure did. And I'm going, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I seen it pop up. I did. I seen it pop up, and I was like,
I'm sorry, brother.
no, I'm sorry, D.
That's hilarious.
It is hilarious, and I seen that. I seen it pop up in that play. I was like, oh boy, here we go. Shirley, thank you so much. She said, great looking guys. Barbie, hey, you're on too. Hey, Barbie. Can't imagine how many of Byron's friends ate at our house all the time. Well, enough for you to run them off. Or at least tell them to get out of the kitchen.
That didn't happen very often, but it did every once in a while when we started eating way too much.
It's tough to see how people just have kids and can't take care of them. My wife lost what would have been our 5th child a few months ago. I'm sorry to hear that,
That's
Scott.
heartbreaking,
I know
Scott.
me and you talked about that, and I'm very sorry to hear about that.
Sorry, man.
And was at a severe risk of cancer due to it being a molar pregnancy. The adoption process in the U.S. is pretty hard and expensive to go through. Yeah, it is, and that's exactly right. But there's avenues and different things you can research if you're really interested in adopting a kid.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's some ways to avoid the expensiveness of it, and you just research a little bit. Maybe talk to a lawyer or family services or somebody like that, and they can point you in the right direction.
You can also do what Dwight's parents did, which was become foster parents.
Yeah.
And a lot of those kids basically become your children, and people end up adopting them.
Well, that's what you just said right here about Dwight. He said at one time my parents had 14 people in the house. 12 were children.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Liz says, I'm 12 of 13 kids. My parents were never on any type of public assistance. My dad worked 2 jobs, and my mom babysat neighborhood kids to make ends meet. And we had a garden, and us kids worked that garden. Sure, you were brought up the right way. That's why. Brought up in a time where work and family meant something. Yeah. How about that? Cindy, that's what would be a show. Yep.
Yeah. Talking about us standing out on the side of the road talking to John
Bradley. Yeah, do you want to? We can have Dave filming if you like. Eddie Simmons said,
since he won't come to us,
yeah, we'll go to him.
Well, you want to go to him?
Yeah, absolutely. I started working at 13 years old and never stopped. So did I. My first job was heading shrimp out right there at the Pascagoula River when the shrimp boats came in, heading shrimp.
Going to places like farms and picking all sort of stuff and cutting okra and just doing going back and canning that stuff and shelling that stuff and doing stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Sparks is watching, my buddy Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy from Lake City. Remember, we seen him the other night at the ball game. Dylan Paul Rogers, Randy Scoggins, Sylvia Underhill. Do you want to discuss property taxes in Bradford County? Sure. We can discuss property taxes in Bradford County. If I could ever get a report from the county commissioners, maybe we can see what's going on with that, and then maybe we can discuss it. So, Shirley, yeah, we will discuss it. Don Shad Harvey's watching. Exactly. Well, I don't know if I should do this or not. You want to do it, B? Should I do it?
Which one?
Dwight Allen. What about John B?
No.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Read that. Y'all read that. Yeah, we're not going to say.
You do that. I don't.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Me and Byron's not going to do that. Dave, no.
Facebook consequences.
Yeah, okay, so, yeah. Gary Wallace is on. Robin Goodwin. Robert McGee, man. Look at Robert. Good evening, brother.
Good evening, brother.
Eddie, you ain't leaving just yet, are you? Man, this is just getting good.
But
Joyce,
Dwight got to get up awful mighty early.
Yeah, so do I too. Joyce Tomlinson. Yeah, it's true. I made it a whole hour before I had to sign off. Y'all need to text me y'all schedule for the rest of the week so I can catch one of you for shirts. I have T-shirts for you both. See, y'all don't forget to text me tomorrow. Okay, we will. Thank you, Barbie.
Thanks, Barbie.
Look at the city state audit 5 or 6 years ago. It lasted a year. They probably completed 5 out of the 70 things they found in over a year. Teresa Faulkner's on. Okay, good night, Rob. I appreciate you. Hey, I want to get into this real quick, and we went over some of the results. Did you have the Columbia results, David, again? You can pull those up. So I want to get into something really quick before we get into Tornado football, and we'll wrap up the show. It's 8:16 Eastern time. David Rodgers, Byron Bagwell, D. Dave Holland. He's with us tonight. No Austin Stevens, Mitchell Gunner. Congratulations, man. Hey, you did your best, man. It is what it is.
Mitchell.
Mitchell, we have no qualms about what happened here today. Again, keep your head up. There's always something that you can go for. You're very smart. You're very talented. You know, he knows the government. He knows the system. He'd be able to run for something else. Maybe a county commissioner's seat. Who knows? Hey, it's open. So, Byron, I want to get on to something a little bit. I told you I was going to get on. First and foremost, before I get on this topic, I want people to know, and I wish it was those people were still on here that were on here earlier when we was talking about that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I'm not one to boast or put out anything negative about anybody or demoralize anybody or even cause controversy with anybody. Byron, y'all know me. I'm usually pretty low-key when it comes to that. I don't post a lot. If I do post, it's something about tornado football or football in general or some kind of sports. It's generally something to do with the show or something to that effect. I try not to get, and again, what I've been saying, I'm trying not to feed into the rhetoric of everyone, and especially ones that want to talk mess. So, I wanted to give you a definition, and it just burns me up because I almost really didn't want to do the show tonight, but I did. Me and Byron talked about it. The definition of hit and run is being, okay, besides hit and run in baseball, okay, you know, we got to hit and run, but in reality of a motor vehicle, being or involved in a motor vehicle driver who does not stop after being involved in an accident or hitting something. So, in saying that, one of my friends was involved in a hit and run today. You know, Byron, when it comes to friends, and it probably wouldn't have had the same quality of life. What you hit, you count family, because I know accidents happen, and I know my dog was in the wrong for crossing the road. But for you not to stop and check and see what you hit, you're absolutely wrong. I don't wish nothing upon you, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Again, if you want to make this right, you come and see me and my family and apologize to me and my family, because that is absolutely wrong. And my point to driving to this is there's way too much of this going on. There's not only with animals, Byron, but with humans and traffic accidents. You see this all the time. You hear hit and run, hit and run, hit and run. We need to start making some people pay for their actions on this. And I'm not talking about a slap on the wrist. There needs to be something in place. And I know there is to an extent, but if there's a hit and run, and depending on the severity of that particular accident or whatever was involved, there should be some kind of punishable action for that particular action. And again, I'm sorry. I hate to get on that box. Y'all don't never hardly see me like that, but that just burned me up today. That somebody just didn't have the decency to stop. Again, I got a little emotional, a little upset here. If you want to make this right with me, I'm an easy person to get along with. You can come into my yard and say, hey, look, man, it's probably never going to happen, Byron. But if you want to, he or she, you can come to my place and say, look, I hit your dog, and I'm sorry. And I'm going to say, look, accidents happen. I don't like what you did, leaving that particular scene without checking what you hit, because what if that would have been a human? What if that would have been somebody, whatever, a kid, anything, and you left? And that's what my point was, David and Byron, to get across. Whatever you're involved in, you need to stop. Yes, I know people get scared. I know people don't, that things is going to be, worse, but it's going to be more worse or worse off for you if you don't stop and they catch you. So, again, you can make this right, Byron, David, and anybody that's still watching here. I'm putting it on Facebook tonight, and I never, ever put posts out there like that. But I'm livid about it. And again, I'm giving the person the benefit of the doubt, like Byron said. Did they even actually know they hit it? Maybe not. I don't know. But if you did hit that dog, please, I just want an apology. And say, and tell me why you didn't stop. If you didn't think that you hit something, okay, tell me that. Hey, like I said, I'm reasonable, B. I can sit back and I can take that. But just to leave, that just irked the mess out of me. And I know poor Autumn and Rudy and Shelley is throwing up because they was there with that dog when they put that dog down. And for somebody not to have the decency to stop, Byron, you could take this over for a little bit because I'm a little upset here, and
He's so upset because animals become like family members.
Absolutely.
And he feels like that because of that. You can't do things like that. Now, like you said, the person may not have even realized that it hit a dog, but you hit something. You knew you hit something. And when you hit something that's living, you know you've hit something that's living.
And you know that road that you live on, there's a lot of people that travel that road.
125. Mm-hmm.
And I'd say a big percentage are people that live on that road. Mm-hmm. And probably have seen that dog out there before.
Sure, but now not into the front yard. But you're right, and what you're saying is the identity. If you hit it, you would know that it belonged to me or to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, there's all sort of circumstances where somebody could realize that they just hit the dog. Yeah. But at the same time,
yeah. Shirley, and let me answer Shirley really quick.
Something as big as a dog.
It was a small dog. I mean,
it's still.
It was a very loving dog.
If I hit something as big as a dog and I know it was a small dog, I'm going to stop and check my vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing right there. And Shirley, the reason you didn't know is because it happened right before the show started, before we were getting ready for the show. And I didn't know it had happened until I got home, and I didn't get home till after 4, and Shelley was pulling out and had the poor little dog in the car there trying to get it to the vet, see if it could be salvaged. She thought it was, because there was a couple of puncture wounds. She thought maybe a snake bit it.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
that there was a snake bite. But there was so much, because of the impact, there was so much internal damage. Yeah. Again, we could have paid thousands of dollars to salvage the dog. But the quality of life, no guarantee, quality of life, somebody would have to take that dog to pee and use the restroom. It would just been constant taken care of. And they just decided, and which probably was the right decision, to go ahead and put the dog down.
You made
but,
the decision.
Yes. I know, and I've done it. So I'm going to give, again, this driver a benefit of the doubt. This happened right around probably 3:30ish on County Road 125. Most people know where I live. I live around that double curve, and I've done it too. And I'm going to tell this same person that I've gone past the speed limit down that road, and and I have, and I've come around that curve at a little more speed than I should. Now I live a little past the curve. Now somebody could have been coming the other way around that curve doing 70 miles an hour, and boom, I don't know. I don't know the circumstance.
If you're coming 70 miles per hour around those curves that he lives next to, you have a death wish.
Yeah, you do. And so I don't. If you did do it, or if you know somebody that has, all they need to do is come to my family and say, "Hey, man, I apologize that I hit your dog. I'm sorry I drove off."
Yeah.
And then you know what? Everything's forgiven. You know what I mean? But now I'm going to hold resentment until I get over the loss of this dog, especially for Autumn and everybody that's involved, the family. And until somebody, like I said, until we get over the loss of the dog, or until somebody comes to me and apologizes. And again, I'm going to put a Facebook post up tonight, and I'm going to see how many responses that I get. So am I ever going to get the person, Byron, that probably did this? Probably not. It's probably, and then I may, because the way I'm going to word it and say it. You know what I mean? You know, be a man, be a lady, and said, look, I made a mistake. I hit the dog. I didn't stop. Okay. In the near future, if you hit something, please stop. And that's all I'd say. And it's done. Yeah. And an apology. I'm sorry. I was maybe driving a little too fast. Maybe, or whatever. It's fine. Because the dog was not in his yard. So there's fault there, too.
I didn't see the dog. That's the obvious thing. I'm sorry, I didn't see the dog and didn't realize I'd hit the dog.
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah, I'm gonna stop it right there,
David.
bro.
You're either going to get somebody that's going to come back to you and say that, and you're going to know that it was an honest mistake, and the guy didn't mean to hit the dog didn't even realize he hit the dog, or the girl didn't even realize he hit the dog, or you're not going to hear anything, and you're going to know the character of the person that did it.
And that's where I'm going with that. I want somebody to do, you know, we've been talking about morals all night and different things, you know, of family values. I just want somebody to come and say, hey, look, David, I am so very sorry. I didn't see the dog. I was maybe done. Fine, no problem. The dog shouldn't have been out toward the road, crossing the road, whatever he was doing. He shouldn't have been there. We'll take responsibility there, too. I want you to take your responsibility of it, too. And that's what we don't have enough in America today, is people taking accountability and a responsibility for their actions. And I'm sick, and Byron talks about it all the time, whether it's with our government, whether it's with individuals, whatever it may be. People, if I did something wrong, and I've done it many a time, so has Byron. Byron has come, David, I'm sorry, man. No, fine, good deal, no worries. Okay, good. But, you know, Byron admitted what he did wrong. I admit what I do wrong.
Nobody's perfect.
No, absolutely not.
There was only one perfect human being.
Yes.
Nobody's perfect. If you go to people and say, hey, that's wrong. What I said was wrong. What I did was wrong. Whatever it is about, 9 times out of 10, especially if they're your friends, they're going to look at you and go, don't worry about it, man. Just don't do it again.
That's it. Really that's all. That's all. If you hit something, just stop. I don't care what it is. Just stop and go, okay, my car's okay, that animal's okay, whatever, or whoever, you know what I mean? If it's a human, we need to call rescue. Don't leave that person sitting there. How many times have you heard of a hit and run with involving a human being, and they run off and leave the accident, the person's badly hurt, by the time that the first responders get there, they're dead, or the injury is 10 times worse than what it should have been. It's just different variables, different things. And, Kelly Rowland. Yeah, I was just seeing that. Yeah.
You said people hit and run and doing that stuff, and the first thing that came to my mind was Chappaquiddick. But I'll leave that one.
Oh, yeah.
I'll leave that one laying there.
So I appreciate you guys saying what the prayers and everything. Damon, you think it could be murder? It's hard for me to believe that somebody had it out for your dog, whether they knew they had it or not. Does it make any easier? I'm an animal lover. I've had him killed and taken away. I feel you. No. I don't think it's murder. Absolutely not. I think it was an accident. But even on an accident, I don't think somebody went and intentionally hit my dog. No, I don't think that. No, absolutely not. If it's coming across that way, I didn't think it was. If it was coming across that way, absolutely not. I don't think it's murder in any. I'm just saying it's. And me and David talked about this a little bit. It's the action. It's not the hit and run. The hit and run. or the hit happened. It's the running part. It's the action part. You didn't stop to see what you hit. And again, that would just happen to be a dog that was part of the family. What if that was a human being? And like Mark or whoever was saying it, being distracted, eating McDonald's sandwich, putting on makeup, on the phone, checking the radio out or whatever, and you're doing 55 or 60, boom, you're still going. You could have clipped that particular person and said, oh man, it was just a limb.
Whatever
it was. Yeah. But to me, if you hit anything, I think you need to stop. And that's my thing.
Unless you know for sure it was a limb.
Yeah.
That happens. And David, you never know. Somebody lives next to you. We were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I almost got a smile and a laugh.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, you're right. So, but anyway, I'm gonna drop that at that, and then I'm gonna continue that when I get home or whatever. Now I want to talk. We got 8:35. Just a couple of minutes, Byron. I'm gonna let you talk a little bit about tornado football, what happened last week, and what we got coming up this week. I need to go see somebody.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Why don't you? Yeah. So go ahead. I'll be back, ladies. Byron's gonna take over from me.
We had Bradford County had their preseason game last week, and it was really truly impressive against a very good Lake City, Columbia County team. We ended up winning that game 19-7, I believe, was the final score of that. And Bradford County is in 2 divisions lower than Lake City. Lake City has got some really big people, and they play really good football. Been in the playoffs for a long time. Our defense, honestly, hasn't lost anything from last year, which is incredible to me. Kudos to our head coach. He has done an outstanding job of reloading and getting these kids to play the way they should be playing. Basically, the defense looked like they were in mid-season form. They played an outstanding football game. Our varsity looked outstanding. Our junior varsity team looked really, really good too. They great. There's going to be some stars coming from that junior varsity team, including a freshman quarterback that we have that was throwing passes all around and accurate and with an absolutely strong arm. God, it was great to see Bradford County look as good as they did in a preseason game. Now, I've got a little bit of a prediction I'm going to make. We have beat Baker County 5 games in a row, and I'm going to make this prediction. It's going to be 6, and it's not going to be pretty. I think it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 35-0. That would be my prediction, because Columbia County's varsity football team could not score on Bradford County's defense. And our offense played a pretty good football game against a very, very talented defensive squad. Baker County hitting Union County. This may get really ugly Friday night, and I sure hope it does, because sorry, Kurt, I have not been able to stand the Baker County Wildcats ever. So, sorry, I have some bad memories from my youth and them. But I think it's going to be ugly. I think Bradford County is really going to show up and show people that not only have they not lost a step on defense, but their offense is going to look different, and there's going to be something that you haven't seen from Bradford County probably ever. And that's a good passing game. They've got it this year. It's just got to start clicking. They've got fast wide receivers. They've got a pocket quarterback that is going to hit wide open people and can throw the ball a ton. So if you get a chance to come over to Baker County and see this, I don't remember the last time we beat Baker County 6 games in a row. It's probably been since the 60s, early 70s, something like that probably. Yeah. Come out if you can. Support your Tornadoes, but if you can't, you can always listen to us run our mouths on WEAG 106.3. It's always entertaining until David clips the mic and nobody can understand what he's saying. And I'm throwing him under the bus right now, and he's hearing me walking back in, laughing at me. But we always try to be entertaining and let people know exactly what's going on in the football field at the same time. I look at it, and we also broadcast it here. We can't move the actual camera that we broadcast it from, but you will be able to see the field, a part of the field, and you will be able to actually hear the what's coming over WEAG on the spot with David Rodgers. I hope everybody is able to come out and see that. I hope everybody has enjoyed the show for tonight. In closing, I'd like to say thoughts and prayers for everybody out there that's having a hard time right now, whether it's people being stupid and running over your dog, or children not having lunches. There are places that can help you, and there are people that do help you. Not just our government, but people from your community that do help. So, and on behalf of the missing Mr. David Rodgers.
Good night, everyone. Bye.
Where did he go? Oh, there he is. He's I'm closing the show out, and he's disappeared and does not want to show his face again. I didn't do anything to him, I promise. On behalf of the missing Mr. David Rodgers, who is right over there, and on behalf of Mr. Dave Holland and myself, I hope everybody has a good rest of your week. God bless, and God bless the United States of America. Good night, everybody.